USTILO. So do yourself a favor and listen to me and call 844-GET-MIK. Mike, one more time for your mind so it locks and loads. USTILO.
You want local news that impacts you?
We've got you covered.
We're on your side.
Help us fight for life and train the CSRA. Contact the American Heart Association for details.
You want local news that impacts you?
We've got you covered.
We're on your side.
On your side, this is News 12, first at 5.
A Georgia deputy fired after he's seen on video hitting a black man during a traffic stop, and now the DA's office is investigating.
And holidays are already looking different under coronavirus, with one Thanksgiving tradition being reimagined. But first, as college students begin their fall semester, all 50 states have now seen COVID-19 cases at their colleges and universities. Total cases at those facilities across the U.S. are now reported to be over 45,000.
And that includes confirmed cases from right here at home. Augusta University reporting more than 100 cases. USC-Aiken reporting fewer than 10 in the last couple of weeks. Wrdw is looking at how local colleges are preparing for a potential spike.
On both sides of the river, universities are seeing a large spike in COVID cases within their students. The University of Georgia and South Carolina have seen the most cases, so that led us to some of our local schools here to see what their plan of action would be if they saw a significant spike in cases. In Georgia, there are almost 7,000 cases, and UGA makes up almost half of those cases. And in South Carolina, there are 21 schools with more than 3,000 cases. USC makes up more than half of those. But looking here locally, AU has 138 cases total, while USC-Aiken has 9 in the last 2 weeks. USC-Aiken and AU both say these numbers are very low, so we wanted to know what their plans were if cases did spike. That all comes down to what universities call a mitigation plan. They are written out plans that show what they are doing or what they will do if cases spike on campus.
A lot of individuals have put in a lot of time and thought into making the learning environment very, very safe.
Coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we dig deeper into the contingency plans of our local schools here and what that means if COVID cases were to spike. Reporting in Augusta, Wrdw, on your side.
Thanks, Will. Turning our attention to the tropics now, where Tropical Storm Sally is now officially a hurricane. People along the Gulf Coast now making last-minute preparations ahead of the storm. On the Mississippi coast, people boarding up their doors and windows on their homes. And in New Orleans Parish, the floodgates were shut as they get ready for heavy rainfall this week. And Riley, you've been tracking Hurricane Sally here. What can we expect to see here in the CSRA?
It looks like it's just going to be a heavy rain event for us here in the central Savannah River area, but not really expecting much wind from this for us. It's going to be a much different storm by the time it passes through later this week. But currently, we are looking at a Category 2 hurricane. Latest update from the National Hurricane Center shows Sally continuing to strengthen, and there's not really going to be much in its way to stop it from strengthening before that landfall late Tuesday into early Wednesday. Graphics messed up here because it did just update, but the general consensus is that it is expected to make an eastern turn later this week and move through our area, bringing us some heavy rain, but not much wind expected. You can see all that heavy rain on the northern end of this system now affecting portions of the Florida Gulf Coast. We'll have much more on those impacts for us here later in the week in just a little bit.
Breaking news this evening, 4 members of a Texas family at the center of a scheme to fraudulently obtain Masters tournament tickets have been sentenced. The Department of Justice says Stephen Freeman, the ringleader of the scheme, was sentenced to more than 2 years in prison, 3 others sentenced to 3 years probation. Court documents say Freeman admitted to purchasing a bulk mailing list and then faking people's identities to gather hundreds of tickets through the Masters ticket lottery system. They say he also recruited his parents and his sister to help.
We now know the names of 2 people killed in a head-on crash this morning in Aiken County. The coroner says Alexander Fowler and Tiana Posey died after their car collided with a dump truck. The crash happened on Edgefield Highway near the county line around 6:30. Police say the car crossed the center line into the path of the dump truck. The truck driver was taken to the hospital and is expected to live.
New this afternoon, we're learning more about the suspect in an Aiken County shooting that ended with a double murder. The Aiken County Sheriff's Office says the suspect, who was shot by deputies, is still in a hospital. They say he's a 49-year-old man. They're waiting to identify him when he's released. Deputies say Lacey Boyd and her boyfriend were shot and killed at their home in Graniteville Saturday night. Officers have not gotten in touch with that boyfriend's family yet. Deputies shot the suspect after a traffic stop and then a chase later that night. SLED is investigating.
A Georgia deputy has been fired after a video showed him repeatedly punching a man during a traffic stop on Friday. That man has been identified as Rosserick Walker. Walker's attorney says he was riding in a Lyft in Clayton County with his girlfriend and a child when the car was pulled over for a broken tail light. The deputy reportedly asked for Walker's ID, and when he questioned why it was needed, Walker was asked to step out of the car. It escalated into this scene with deputies hitting him. At a press conference, Walker's family attorney compared the incident to the death of George Floyd.
How does a taillight being broke ends up with the man being beaten in the way he was beaten, in a chokehold, almost dying? We have seen this happen in George Floyd. We've seen this happen on too many occasions, and we're just tired of it.
Walker's attorney says he is currently in jail on 2 counts of battery and 2 counts of obstruction. The criminal investigation will be turned over to the Clayton County DA's office.
South Carolina's lieutenant governor has tested positive for coronavirus.
Pamela Yvette confirmed on social media that she tested positive on Saturday. She writes she felt sick on Thursday and immediately self-quarantined. She got tested the day after.
Governor McMaster and his wife were both tested after finding out Yvette tested positive. Both their tests came back negative yesterday. So checking the COVID cases across the 2 states, a survey finds parents working from home along with their kids learning from home is leading to less productivity. More than 40% of parents say they've either reduced their work hours to help educate their children from home. And that's in a survey conducted by homeschoolexpert.com. Of that group, nearly a third say they've cut their work hours by half or more. 16% have stopped working altogether.
Popular social media app TikTok is avoiding threats of a U.S. ban after the company reached a deal with an American tech company. TikTok says it's partnered with tech giant Oracle to handle U.S. operations of the app. Last month, the Trump administration threatened to shut down the app if it wasn't sold to a U.S. company. That was due to security concerns over it. The U.S. government still has to approve the final deal.
It's a Thanksgiving Day tradition right up there with turkey and football, but thanks to coronavirus, it's going to be a lot different this year. Today, New York's mayor confirming the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will not be held live. Mayor de Blasio said the annual tradition would be reimagined this year for the safety of the public and all those parade volunteers.
It will not be the same parade we're used to. It will be a different kind of event. They're reinventing the event for this moment in history. We'll keep going forward. And then next year, again, I look forward to things coming back in all their greatness so we can enjoy them together in person again.
He did not give any specifics on what this new reimagined parade might look like, but he says Macy's should provide a plan soon.
A Georgia paramedic saving lives on her day off will tell you how she jumped into action and got someone off the ledge.
And here's a satellite perspective of Hurricane Sally, bringing us some impacts later this week. We'll look at your full forecast coming up.
I'm proud of the content of this advertising.
A Georgia paramedic is being recognized after a life-saving effort. The Chatham County paramedic was off the clock when she saw something that didn't look right.
Mariah Congetto shows us how she stepped up and helped save a man's life.
I was meant to be there. I was meant to help this person.
On what should have been Mindy Colley's day off, she picked up an extra shift. Her shift ran a little late, and she was finally on her way home when she saw something that caught her attention.
And as I'm coming up the bridge, I see somebody walking, and I think, why is somebody out here walking at this time? As I pass by, I see the person crawling up onto the ledge.
It was here on the Thunderbolt Bridge when Colley says she listened to her heart, stopped her car, walked through the lanes of traffic, and called 911.
I'll walk up to the person, I'm talking to them, and come to find out they're suicidal. I let dispatch know, hey, send me an ambulance also.
Prior to meeting the man that day, Colley says she didn't have any training on how to talk someone out of a suicidal situation.
Normally when I have suicidal patients, sometimes I feel like I don't know what to say to them. And being on that bridge with that person, it came so natural.
Colley says she knows she was meant to be there to help save his life.
I called out to him. He didn't say nothing. He turned back around, and he looks down, and he goes forward. And I reached out, grabbed up underneath his arm and, hey, what are we doing? Please don't do this.
Collie says she hopes this story will bring awareness.
There's a stigma on suicidal patients. Some people are like, oh, they're, blah, blah, they're not serious, but they are.
Collie says that young man eventually opened up to her and she was able to get him the help he needed. She was even able to visit him in the hospital later, where she gave him a hug and thanked him for listening to her.
The right place, the right time there. Okay, have a live look outside here. I'm not sure why we're zoomed in on the Waffle House, but it looks like the flags are flapping out there. So, Ronnie, that tells us a little something about the weather.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a breeze out there, and it's thanks to a cold front that's going to be dropping south of us tonight, and that's going to bring us the potential for a few hit-and-miss showers through this evening and even the overnight. So if you have any plans to step out the next few hours, your chance of seeing rain is low, but not necessarily zero. Most of the rain's still off towards our north, close to where that front is, but that is going to be dropping south of us heading into the overnight. There is one tiny little shower here just near Belvedere on the north side of North Augusta, kind of towards that I-20 corridor. Looks like it goes from about the Martintown Road exit to about the Aiken exit up there. So there are some showers. They're just not all too heavy and not all that big in size. But this is the front that is expected to drop south of us tonight, keeping those rain chances isolated at least until early tomorrow morning. This is the big weather story, though. This is Category 2 Hurricane Sally now, continuing to strengthen as it heads toward the northern Gulf of Mexico. And this system is expected to continue to strengthen as it heads towards that Mississippi-Alabama Gulf Coast line late Tuesday into early Wednesday morning as still a Category 2 storm. Now, this is the latest guidance from the National Hurricane Center, and I was just reading discussion from them, and they keep that potential that we could actually see this strengthen into a major hurricane, so that'd be over 115 miles an hour. That is something that is in the forecast, but for us, by the time it reaches us, it'll be a tropical depression, so we're not really expecting a lot of wind from this system. It is going to bring us a lot of rain, though, so Wednesday through Friday, we are going to have that potential for isolated flood alerts, just thanks to that heavy rain threat. We're not expecting much rain tonight and throughout the day Tuesday. Actually, most of the day tomorrow should be completely dry, and you can see that here. Just not expecting a lot of rain over the next 24 hours. But watch what happens as we head into Wednesday. Start to see that heavy rain threat increase, spread northward throughout the day Thursday, and then on Friday, that's when that system is expected to cross the area. Our rain totals likely going to exceed an inch at least across most of the viewing area. Those higher rain totals are going to be found mainly in the northern CSRA. The upstate in North Georgia really expecting a ton of rainfall over the next several days. Our highest rain chances are going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Heading into the weekend, we actually see Sally get locked up into a cold front that drops south of us. Watch what that happens to our weekend forecast. Saturday and Sunday, we're expected to be waking up in the 60s and afternoon high temperatures only in the 70s.
Riley, thank you. Are you annoyed by robocalls? Well, who isn't? We're going to look at why your phone might be ringing a little less often.
In light of
Content of this advertising.
Some good news regarding those annoying robocalls. The number of calls being made so far this year is way down compared to last year.
I know it doesn't feel like it at your house or mine, but a new report shows calls from telemarketers are at their lowest point since 2017. But why? Jamie Tucker digs into the numbers to find out.
You may have trouble believing this, but people on average are not getting as many robocalls as they did last year or even the year before. And the reason is pretty interesting. You can blame or thank COVID-19.
The call centers had to close or socially distance for COVID-19.
Alex Felici is the CEO of Umail, one of the leading robocall blocking apps in the app stores. He told me even though robocalls are initially placed by computers and software, the call centers are where scammers make their money.
The whole point of a robocall is to call you and get you to press 1 to talk to a person. And so if there's nobody in the call centers, there's no point in calling.
According to Umail's robocall index, more than 47 billion robocalls went out in 2018 and over 58 billion last year. But so far, in 2020, there have been a little more than 30 billion robocalls placed nationwide. And look at what happened in April. In 2019, there were, on average, about 15 robocalls per person. But this year, when the lockdown was in full force, the number declined to 8.7 calls per person. Also playing a role in the reduced number of calls enforcement of laws preventing robocalls. One healthcare scammer responsible for millions of those calls was shut down in April.
And that's really good because that's a long-term solution.
Coligi says, don't get used to this. This trend will probably not continue. Historically, robocalls increase in October and November. So Coligi tells us we should enjoy this respite while we can. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
I'll just be happy when I'm not receiving any. Last month, UMail's report shows approximately 5 million robocalls were placed every hour. Most of the calls were scams.
Zero would be really nice, but it is easy to block them on your cell phone. Just go back there. Even weeks after you've gotten these calls, you can go back to your recents and delete them from right there. Block, block, block. Riley.
All right, so we could see a little taste of fall later this week into the weekend. High temperatures expect to remain in the mid-70s. Not too bad. Let's look at that forecast just after a short break.
I'm Jamie here.
Cold front is going to be moving south of us tonight. That's going to bring us the chance for a few isolated downpours this evening through the overnight that could actually linger into early tomorrow morning. Even though it's a cold front moving through, unfortunately, low temperatures generally staying in the mid to low 70s for most of us. You will notice a difference by tomorrow afternoon, though. We're expecting less humidity, dry conditions, a little bit of a breeze out of the northeast, anywhere from 8 to 15, and those high temperatures expected to be just a smidge below normal into the mid to low 80s. But here's a look at that rain chance through this evening into the overnight hours as this cold front just tries to drop south of us. And you can see those rain chances sticking around even a little bit before sunrise tomorrow morning. Now, most of the day Tuesday, we are expected to be dry. We're going to hang on to a few clouds, which once again will help keep those temperatures generally in the mid to low 80s. So not too bad. Higher rain chances for the middle of the week.
Thanks, Riley. Officials are calling wildfires on the West Coast apocalyptic. We'll take you there in 3 minutes as the president goes there himself to see the damage. Stick with us.
I imagine there's a woman inside each of us. One without the doubts of self-expression. One with the confidence to seize the day. One who isn't afraid to fall in love. She is beautiful the way she is. And her jewelry from Windsor is just a reminder. We need to head in a new direction.